T.
Hotel or Airbnb?
Hotel.
Book a movie.
Movie.
Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Read minds or invisibility?
Read minds.
Past or future?
Future.
Work hard or play hard?
Oh, play hard.
Fiction or non fiction?
Non-fiction for sure.
Winter or summer?
So bad. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Oh my goodness, I'm so emotional sitting here in front of you guys. It's been such a long time. Oh my god, I'm so happy to have you back. Okay, and if you're new here, my name is Victory. I'm a woman of many hats. And we will not be bringing all those hats to this channel. On this channel, you can just see me as, your sister, your bestie, and let's learn and grow together. Okay, let's dive into today's video. So today we're actually doing a Q&A just to for welcome back. I'm coming back, and I thought, what's better way to come back than to do a Q&A. Let's catch up, so I can let you know where I'm at right now from when we spoke last time, okay, and all that has happened in between. I did post a Q&A on Instagram, and I had some of you send in your questions. So I will start by answering those questions, then I'll answer a few more questions, and then we'll do a rapid fire session, okay? Okay, so the first question is, do you love me? The person that asked this question, I don't know what to tell you, bro. But anyways, so I do know the person that asked this question, and she's one of my sisters. So yes, I do love you, Ivory. Anyways, the next question is, any travel plans for the year? So to be honest, I have a goal of traveling to at least one new country or one other country every year. Right now, I live in Canada, so I have a goal of traveling to one other country every year. In 2024, it was Switzerland. In 2023, it was Korea. In 2025, I went back home to Nigeria to see my family. So this year, by God's grace, I will definitely be traveling somewhere. But um, I can't disclose anything right now, unfortunately. But I'll make sure to let you guys know, when it happens. Okay? And then next steps. Now I'm doing a master's in global health and human development. It's an online program from a school in India. And it's a really, like, I'm having the time of my life. Literally, I'm so grateful that I took that program. Doing a master's was nowhere in my plans. Nowhere in my plans, but I'm very grateful that I started that program. For next steps, I do hope to get a job in global health and just go from there. I can't, again, unfortunately, I'm still working with God to figure things out, right? So I can't disclose much right now, but definitely my goal is to build a career in global health. How I'm going to go about that, God knows. But that's just all I can say for now. And then the next question is, what's your word for the year? That's such a good question. I love that question so much. So my word for the year actually is Matthew 6:33, which says that seek ye first the kingdom of God, and every other thing shall be added unto you. So something happened to me last year where I was really, really focused on self-development, that, like, I literally became so obsessed with self-development and just growing and motivation and all of that. And I was consuming so much content, and now, like, at the end of the year, when I was reflecting, I realized that it actually took me away from the presence of God, right? Like, I wasn't prioritizing the things of God as much as I would, or as much as I should anymore. And like, I realized that over the year, I actually, like, I was still a child of God. I still love God. I was still serving in church, everything, but I was no longer in the secret place as much as I used to be. So basically, when I was praying for 10:10:6, I believe what the Lord told me is that He wants me to really come back to Him this year and to really put Him first before my career. Because again, I'm a very ambitious person. I'm a very ambitious person. I'm a very driven person. If you know me, you probably know that. So I feel like at some point it was beginning to feel like my ambition, my goals, my motivation, everything was beginning to take the place of God in my life. So I really feel like this year God really just wants me to put him first, and that's really what I'm trying to do this year. So that's my word for the year. And then the next question is, what do you do outside of content creation? This question. Anyway, so outside of content creation, I run a foundation. I'm the CEO of the foundation. I'm the founder and CEO, Daniel Children Foundation, a foundation that supports children with disabilities in Nigeria. And then I also run a student community called Olivia Hub. I'll leave the link to Olivia, like our social media platforms and our WhatsApp group on the chat on the description, and then you can join our community if you're a student. I really recommend definitely. And then what else do I do? I'm a content creator. And then I also work full time. And then I'm a master's student as well. Next question is, why are you starting back on YouTube? So actually, the reason I'm starting back on YouTube is because I think I found what I want to do. I actually found what I want to do on YouTube. And it's so interesting because one thing I've realized is that sometimes you actually just need to do things like just take this step, right? Last year I started YouTube and I was making content for students, academic related content, and that's led me to start the students community Olivia Hub, and we had our back to school conference last year. So I feel like sometimes, even if you're not sure, just go ahead and do it. Starting a YouTube channel for students was never in my plan, right? It was never in my plan. But for some reason last year I just started making student related content. And although I knew that I wasn't going to make that forever, right? But in that moment I just obeyed. And that obedience led me to starting that community today. And I'm just so grateful to God. And now I feel like I really, really know what I want to do on YouTube. I want to talk about motivation, inspiration, productivity for believers. Because one thing last year taught me was I was obsessed with self development, but then a lot of the content I was consuming was from people that are not believers, right? And they have all these ideologies that don't align with the gospel. Things like, oh, self love, putting yourself first. The Bible doesn't teach us that. The Bible teaches us that we should love our neighbors like we love ourselves, and we should lay down our lives for others. Literally, that's what the Bible says. So a lot of their ideologies don't align with the scriptures, and I feel like it's really hard for young Christian people to actually find self-development or motivational content, or information that aligns with the Bible. So that's the goal of this channel. The goal of this channel is to to share biblically sound, biblically accurate self-development, motivational, productivity content, right? So that's the goal of this channel. So if you're on this channel, expect to get more productivity content. Okay. And then the next question is, what's your most controversial hot take? Okay, my most controversial hot take is that we should not prioritize ourselves. And hear me out. And this is my most controversial hot take, because if Jesus was prioritizing himself, he wouldn't die for us. And if Jesus didn't die for us, where would we be today? Jesus didn't teach us to be selfish. He didn't teach us to be self-centered. No, that's not the gospel, right? So as much as we would take care of ourselves, we will love ourselves, but we must also be willing to sacrifice. We must also be willing to sacrifice for others, because that is what Jesus did for us. There is no friendship without sacrifice. There is no relationship without sacrifice. If you're in a friendship or a relationship and you're not willing to sacrifice, what exactly are you doing? Right? So my most controversial hot take is that self-prioritization, self-centeredness, selfishness is not the will of God. Obsessing over yourself is not the will of God. The Bible literally says that as many that hold on to their lives will lose it, but those that let go of their lives will gain it, right? So that's my most controversial hot take.